He didn't say anything, but I knew anyway. He wanted me to kill the man whose name he had written. We didn't need words.
I'm just thinking, like, I'm trying to think from Johan's perspective here. He just writes a name in the sand and watches these dumb fucks just come up with their own insane maniacal delusions of like, oh, we don't need to talk. He wants me to kill this person. Yeah, I'll kill him. Johan's like, bro, these motherfuckers are so fucking dumb. I didn't even say anything, and they just kill because I just write a name in the sand? Dude, I'm gonna write the president's name in the sand. What are you gonna do then? Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Monster episode. Give me a second. I'm looking up what episode we're on. Episode 63. That's right, episode 63. Dude, do you have any idea how close we are to the end of the show? I believe there is 74 episodes. We're basically within reach now. We're basically at the home stretch. We're basically at the last straight. I am a little worried, however. I'm a little worried because I can't seem to... I'm not really seeing the end game, right? Like usually, like if you think about something like, you know, a very popular show, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, for instance, when you think about that show, right? Like around like maybe 10 episodes before the end, you're kind of like, it's very obvious where the show is going, right? Like what the final confrontation is going to be, or like what the end goal is for the bad guys. With this show, like honestly, I have no idea still, right? We rarely see Johan, we rarely see the bad guys doing anything. It's kind of like, I mean, we kind of have an idea maybe of what they're trying to do, but not really. We've seen a lot of like this brainwashing stuff going on, but we haven't really, how do I say this? We haven't really learned much about like Johan's plan. I mean, I guess he is following the storybook, I guess, but like there's got to be more to it, right? Like, I mean, I feel like we're still missing a very big piece of the pie, the puzzle. Regardless, anyway, previously on episode 62, we met a new character who basically just died instantly. A character, Milan, who basically was trying to get revenge on another devil. Very much like Tenma trying to kill Johan, he tried to kill his own devil, and unfortunately did not succeed. Tried to kill him, got killed in return before he could finish off his revenge. It is what it is. In any case, let's just get into episode 63, shall we?
Yes, it's right here. We've been going over it. We've got a pretty good handle on who was there and their vantage point at the time of the incident.
So isn't it most likely that this guy was targeting the governor?
The guests were all VIPs. I'll bet all of them have enemies.
Although we've identified the attacker, we still don't know who he was aiming for when he pulled the trigger.
Oh, you were able to nail down his identity.
Yes, he was a dentist living in the redevelopment area.
As you can see, I'm Inspector Visbaugh, Nord Rhine-Westfalen Police Department.
Okay. I mean...
Reinhard Dinger, age 42. Taxi driver by profession, arrested in Frankfurt. Suspected of killing a passenger in Gunter Forest Park, as well as the murder of Bilker Investment Bank employee in 97, the 96 Hofgarten murder, the 95 Rhine Riverside murder, the Hilden Station murder. Dinger is wanted for all these murders, which occurred around the Dusseldorf area. I now confirm that the suspect is being transferred to the state of Nord Rhine-Westfalen.
So who the fuck is this guy? Unrelated murders.
Want a drink?
No, I'm good. There's a sign in this car that says smoking is prohibited.
Oh, you're right. If only you had stuck to your morals that well instead of going around killing people.
You have any idea how many you've killed with those hands? Watching you count irreplaceable lives on your fingers. I know the dead won't rest in peace.
I'm happy to say this will be my last assignment.
I mean, irreplaceable
I'm
lives,
retiring tomorrow.
he says. But I mean, like, come on. Let's be honest here. Not all lives are created equal. It is what it is.
I'm happy to say this will be my last assignment. I'm retiring tomorrow. It wasn't an impressive
Oh, he's dead.
career. Not stellar.
He's
but
dead.
Not bad if I do say so.
Right? I
Now
mean,
can tell
anybody who says that, oh, this will be my last job, they're dead. And you're transporting a serial killer, you're dead.
and relax and just
100%,
enjoy being
you're
with
just
my
dead.
wife. That's what life is really all about.
Oh, and mention of
I
the
want you
wife,
to
you're dead.
realize what wonderful moments you took from all those lives that you crushed. I want you to regret it.
Even when a man spits on me, you want me to regret it?
What?
Some man I picked up on Adler Street spat right on me when he was getting out of my cab.
You mean you killed him just for that?
Spitting on another human being should be a crime. I mean, is there any worse insult? The couple I picked up at Gerresheim Station were a whole lot worse. They started having sex right there in the back seat of my cab. In the back seat of my own taxi cab. They asked for it, so I killed them both. And a drunk teenager who had a really foul mouth on him. A
You see?
prostitute who tried to pay her.
He didn't do anything wrong. They insulted him. They did something bad to him first, right? I mean, obviously he's justified, right? I mean, come on. Don't be a douchebag and you don't get killed. Simple.
Affair with her body until I stopped her. An old lady with smeared makeup who kept insulting everybody she saw. Yeah, all kinds of people took a ride in my taxi cab. They were all just a lousy bunch of scum. That's why I killed them.
See? You see, kids? Don't be an asshole, and maybe you'll get to live. Simple.
Well then, let me ask you a question. What was it about that Bilker investment bank employee that you murdered? Exactly how was he scum? An upstanding citizen who worked hard and never smoked or drank, and loved his family with all his heart. However, because you killed him, a certain corporate finance scandal that he was going to blow the whistle on remains an unsolved mystery.
That one. It did leave a bad aftertaste.
Look at you.
Someone
You
hired
talk
me
as
to
if
kill
you're
him.
delivering-
Well, that time, I didn't have a choice.
Why? Did somebody force you to do it?
I can't tell you that, Inspector. I've always been a righteous thinker. Things have to be correct. I just got a little push on the back, and that's all it took.
Ah, so we're back to Johan coercing people, convincing people to kill on his behalf.
A man was walking his dog in the park when I came along. The guy started kicking the dog.
The dog.
Just for taking a crap. The dog was whining as he kicked it. All it had done was heed the call of nature. So I made him stop. The next thing I knew, the police were pulling me off of him. Right at that moment, a boy appeared. He watched, and then he suddenly spoke to the officers. He told them it wasn't my fault. He saved me from getting arrested. I thanked the boy and offered to drive him home, but he said he had no home to go to. It was odd, but I thought, okay. Then he brought out his sister from the bushes in the corner of the park.
Whoa, hang on. Oh, I was like thinking like, this kid has white hair? What? But it's like bandages, right? Okay, this is when he had gotten shot, right? So okay. My bad. I was like, what the fuck? White hair for a child? What? That's weird. Okay,
I think
but it's anime, right?
offered to drive. I'm figuring I have no choice. So I took them both back home with me to my apartment. Here's the strange thing. When they arrived, they took off their jackets and were wearing pajamas. It was as if they had escaped from a hospital or something. I figured they'd come.
Interesting. So this is where they
A
went.
bandage around his head. After we ate dinner that night, we watched the news. I muttered to myself, as I usually do about stuff going on in the world. What depraved people there are. What a depraved world. The bastard should die. And what do you think the boy said to me right after I muttered that? He told me I was absolutely right. And you won't believe what he said to me after that.
We don't need people like that.
That's the moment when I was totally liberated.
That's completely insane! You mean to say that's when you started killing all those people?
Remember when I said something about,
Well, that's it, Inspector.
you know,
Your last
brainwash superpowers? Exactly, right? Now granted, this guy was a little, let's just say, off his rocker already, but, you know, just one sentence from Johan and all of a sudden, oh my god, I'm gonna kill people. It's like... a little bit bullshit.
job. Thank you for the years of work you've put into the force, sir.
I feel a little frustrated, though. There were still a couple of unsolved cases left.
What is it, Inspector Visba?
He's probably remembering.
Then he brought out his sister. His twin sister. Both were wearing pajamas, as if they'd just escaped from the hospital.
Oh my god.
I figured they'd come from the hospital, though, because the boy had a bandage around his head.
The twins, the boy and the girl, they're gone, sir. We can't find them anywhere.
Oh my god.
Inspector?
Huh? You want to know how long ago it was when I met the twins? Let's see. About 11 years ago. They were very good-looking kids. Yeah, pretty blonde twins.
God, I can't believe it. The twins who disappeared that day. The twins who hold a very important key to Dr. Tenma's case. I'll be damned. Only 30 hours left until my retirement.
I mean, he's dead, right? Like, again, I was like, okay, maybe he didn't die. Maybe he's not going to die, right? Like, they got through the conversation with the serial killer, but now, all of a sudden, uh-oh. He got on Johan's trail. Uh-oh. Information about the twins is coming out. Uh-oh. Only 30 hours until I retire. Uh-oh. He's so fucking dead, bro. I've never seen a more deader, pretty sure that's not a word, but deader. I've never seen a deader person walking than this guy right now.
So that's why you had to drink the blood of those 13 people, in order to live.
Right, sure, bro. Of course they had to be virgins,
So let me
obviously.
ask you a
Yes, of course.
question. 3 months back you killed someone. A girl from a general store in Frankfurt. Her name was Frida Schilling. Did you drink her blood too? Now, as you yourself have said, all of the people you've attacked up until this time have been teenage girls. And you waited until you had researched their behavioral patterns for quite a while before assaulting them. I understand that they had to be young because you need virgin blood in order to stay alive. But
Right. Of course,
Frida
of course.
Schilling wasn't a teenager.
As you do.
Frida Schilling had worked at a cafe on Zeiler Street in Frankfurt since she was 16. It was very close to a famous school, and the boys who attended that school were very taken by her and treated her like a goddess. No surprise.
Right, of course.
She gave birth to a baby at the age of 17.
Ew.
There was a family of the boy who got her pregnant was very rich. With the money they received from them, her parents were able to start the new shop. You knew that, didn't you? Since you did thorough research into the other cases, I'm sure you also did it for this one. Do you also drink the blood of girls who aren't virgins?
That one left a real bad aftertaste.
So why is it that you went after her?
Didn't that other guy also say the exact same thing?
I met someone. He's the real thing.
What are you talking about?
I knew as soon as I met him. I knew right then that I was nothing more than a mere blood-sucking bat who was just trying to be what he already was. But he was a real vampire, no doubt about it. At a park outside of Frankfurt, in the suburb of Griesheim. It was a park, just like any other one. Nothing special about it. There was a sandbox in that park. He wrote her name in the sand with a tree branch. I just knew who I was supposed to kill.
Do you know who this guy was?
Like I said, he was a genuine vampire.
Your murder of Erich Klemperer 4 months ago was all...
You know, I wonder if Johan, like... You know, we've asked the question of, like, why does he even do shit like this, right? And we've kind of gotten the answer of, well, he just kind of fucks around, right? Ants, as they said. You know, he just kind of plays around with ants, right? But I wonder, does he keep track of these people? Like, he meets random people in parks and shit, right? Convinces them that, oh, maybe you should kill people or something, right? And, you know, you're like playing with ants, convincing them to do things, but do you actually, like, check up on them afterwards to see if they've done it? Because I know for a fact, like, if I convince someone to do something, or, you know, I set something in motion, I would want to see the result, right? So I wonder if he, like, also tells them to, hey, report back to me somehow. I mean, I would 100% want to see the results of my you know, my manipulation and my playing.
Was there a signal from the aliens this time as well? Did they tell you they changed their minds and that you had to go kill someone in Frankfurt rather than your usual area? Or was there perhaps another reason behind your decision? Klemperer certainly had a sordid history, that's for sure.
Are these murders, like, happening recently?
Cold War, and managed to do well in the food commerce business over the past several years.
Or maybe he is realizing that a lot of these murderers who were active, a lot of these serial killers who were active in the past, like, 10 years, all had an MO, but they all also had some sort of, what's the word, like an exclusion or some sort of like one kill that just didn't match the MO. Like, they all had some sort of outlier, and it ends up turning out that, you know, Johan found them, manipulated them to kill someone specific, and that's why there's always like an outlier.
There have always been persistent rumors that he smuggled young children over the east-west border as well. In other words, he took children from the east side and sold them to childless couples on the west who had the wealth to buy them.
I didn't get a message from the aliens. I met one in person. It was very moving. An alien was standing directly in front of me, face to face.
Where exactly did the UFO land?
At a public park in the middle of Griesheim.
Bro, what are these public parks?
He spoke the language of the cosmos. So to make it easier for me to understand, he wrote letters in the sand. I wish you could feel it. The excitement that I felt so strongly.
I think what this tells us is that if you want someone killed, write their name, not in the death note, but in a fucking sandbox.
Here at somebody's request?
Don't think so. It seems to be for some paper he's writing. He's got influence in his field, so he can convince the big shots to give him permission.
When the man got out of your taxi and spat on you, you ran him over.
Yeah. I've said this over and over again during interrogations, that the people I killed were all unnecessary individuals.
You've always been pretty forthcoming during interviews, but you seem to have quite a hard time discussing your murder of Fritz Oberth, the Bilker bank employee. You have consistently claimed you were in the right as the main justification for committing every one of the other murders. But that's missing when you try to account for this killing. You've never given an acceptable reason for why you murdered Overt.
I don't want to talk to you anymore.
Did you put... Was there a name in a sandbox somewhere that you looked at and were like, oh my god, I gotta kill this person?
My name's Inspector Visbaugh. Was there anything academically or scientifically interesting that Dinger was able to tell you in his interview?
Nothing. Aside from what he's already said before many times. Excuse me.
Today I retire from the Force. But I won't feel right until I get this out of the way first.
I mean, he's so dead.
What do you think about this academically?
Hmm?
Suppose there was a monster-like child who grew up and visited a man who owed him something from the past and he demanded payback.
Wait, a monstrous little kid, you said?
You're right. I know it's an absurd story. Sorry I mentioned it.
No, let me hear more about it. I'm very interested.
Now you both want to grill me? No way. I already said I'm finished talking to Mr. Researcher here.
My final shift hasn't ended yet. I'm still a detective. This is an interrogation. And it's regarding those twins I asked you about yesterday. You said the boy had liberated you. That's when you began your killing spree. I'm just wondering if that little boy grew up and then 11 years later came back to you and asked you to do something for him. No matter what it was he wanted, would you have done it for him?
Yes. Silence is a yes. Look, 9 times out of 10, when you ask someone a question and they don't answer, it's either a yes or it's a it's complicated, but if I say it's complicated, that already gives too much information away, and I don't want to give this information away. So you can assume that it's a yes, but most likely there's more to it.
At the request of someone who asked you to do it. This was a diligent man, and honest as well. That's the kind of person Mr. Oberth was. Quite unlike the scum you so often claim to be.
Scum.
And this was the man who was...
Villains are scum, and I am justice.
If you call him scum, the moral justification for your crimes is shattered.
It wasn't a request, Inspector. He and I didn't even need to speak to each other.
He just put some names in the sand.
That bank employee was probably scum to him. At least that's what I tell myself.
Why?
Because I think he's right, that's why.
And who is he? Is he one of those grown-up twins?
When did you meet him, and where was it?
In Griesheim, at a little park in the middle of the town.
At a park outside of Frankfurt, in the suburb of Griesheim.
At a public park in the middle of Griesheim.
There was a sandbox for kids, and he wrote a name in the sand. He didn't say anything, but I knew anyway. He wanted me to kill the man whose name he had written. We didn't need words.
I'm just thinking, like, I'm trying to think from Johan's perspective here. He doesn't say, hey, kill this guy or kill this person. He just writes a name in the sand and watches these dumb fucks just come up with their own, like, insane maniacal delusions of like, oh, we don't need to talk. He wants me to kill this person. Yeah, I'll kill him. And it's like, Johan's like, bro, these motherfuckers are so fucking dumb. I didn't even say anything, and they just kill because I just write a name in the sand? Like, seriously? Dude? I'm gonna write the president's name in the sand. What are you gonna do then? It's funny. You know? It's entertaining. I'm starting to see where Johan's coming from. Dealing with these dumbasses is
what does it mean?
kind of entertaining.
All 3 men you interviewed may have killed someone at the request of the same man.
By having 3 unrelated serial killers perform the acts, the significance of these murders would be much harder for anyone to spot.
The significance would be harder for anyone to... What does all of this mean? Fill me in, for God's sake.
What do you mean? There's obviously a guy...
and Nina are both headed to Frankfurt. It's Johan. Unless I miss my guess. He's definitely trying to start something in Frankfurt.
Oh, fuck me. He's apparently trying to start something in Frankfurt. But what it is, we don't know. The more interesting thing is, like, dude, actually, I wonder how many serial killers there would be. Let's say you go to, like, a popular, let's say, American city. Let's say New York, right? I wonder how many serial killers there are in New York. And I mean, like, how many serial killers there are in the same area of like a park, like a public park, you know, like a 30-minute radius around the park. How many serial killers there would be around a public park in any given location? Like let's say like a capital city or whatever. Like I'm sure there would be maybe one, maybe two, but like, you know, there's like 3 or more? They all go to the same park? I mean, maybe they were asked to go to the park, but like, I don't know. Usually, you know, whenever situations like these are going on, I can usually come up with some sort of explanation of like what the bad guy's trying to do, maybe, kinda-ish, or like what's going on. But here, I have no idea. The victims don't have any kind of like similarities or connections to each other. It doesn't seem like. The only connection, I guess, is that Johan is getting all these serial killers to kill people, or well, convincing them to kill people. But other than that, I like, what could he possibly be trying to start in a specific location? Just because he you know, just because they all met him in the park in like Frankfurt, it's like, does that really matter? I mean, maybe. Like, if all these, if all the victims of these killings had something to do with each other somehow, like they were connected to something, or if there was any connection, then maybe you could argue that, you know, Johan is specifically targeting these people for some reason or another. But I wouldn't be surprised if these are just random killings. Just completely random. There's no real deeper meaning between choosing these people. It's just that Johan had their names and just wrote the names down. Had them killed for no reason. I would not be surprised. In any case, I hope you enjoyed episode 63 of Monster. Don't know what's gonna happen. Surprisingly, the guy who's about to retire has not died yet. Probably will in the next episode, because, I mean, obviously he's gonna die. I've never seen a deader man, as I said. But yeah, I'll see you in episode 64 of Monster next time. And, goodbye.